Hey, welcome to Otio Academy. Today we're diving into some pretty incredible educational technology. Something that promises to adapt not just to what a student is learning, but how they learn. And it all kicks off with a really familiar question. You know, it's a question that has probably bugged parents and teachers forever. You've got this bright, curious kid who's amazing at talking, great at solving problems, but then you put a book in front of them and something just doesn't connect. So what is really going on there? Well, to really get what's happening, you have to understand this huge, long-running debate in the world of education. For decades, experts have basically been fighting what's known as the reading wars. It's this deep disagreement about the single best way to teach a child how to read. So what you're seeing here are the two main sides of the argument. On one hand, you've got the camp that focuses on sounds. This is all about systematic phonics, drilling the connection between a letter and the sound it makes. But on the other hand, you have people who focus on meaning, more about big picture ideas and where words even come from. The real problem? Most schools have to pick one lane, and every single student gets pushed down that path, even if it's a terrible fit for them. It's a one-size-fits-all problem. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. A company called Otio Academy is stepping into this whole mess, and they're bringing an AI-powered solution that doesn't even try to pick a side in the reading wars. Instead, their whole goal is to make the debate irrelevant by switching from that rigid, static approach to something totally dynamic and personal. So, what does a dynamic diagnostic approach actually mean in plain English? Well, think of it like a super smart GPS for learning. Instead of giving every kid the same paper map and saying, good luck, this AI is more like a learning detective. It's constantly watching how a student learns, and it reroutes the teaching method in real time to find the absolute best path for that specific child. And look, your first thought might be, oh, so this is for dyslexia. But it's actually so much broader than that. The system is designed to spot and support a whole range of learning profiles. We're talking about things like dysgraphia, which is a difficulty with writing, dyscalculia, which is for math, and even something called hyperlexia, where a kid can read words perfectly but has no idea what they actually mean. So the big question is, how does it pull this off? Well, and this is the really clever part, the diagnosis is completely invisible. There are no big stressful tests, no assessments that make a kid feel singled out. The AI just does its thing quietly in the background, analysing a student's normal, everyday classwork. The AI is basically a digital detective, and it's looking for these tiny, subtle clues. Stuff like response patterns, you know, how fast a student answers, or the kind of phrases they use. It can spot work avoidance, like if a kid always skips the handwriting tasks. That could be a clue for dysgraphia. And it looks for those big gaps, like a student who can talk your ear off with a huge vocabulary, but then struggles to read a simple sentence. And this is maybe the most important part for the student themselves, because this all happens behind the scenes. The kid never feels like they're under a microscope. They never feel tested or analysed or labelled. They just feel like they're doing their work, which is absolutely huge for their confidence. Okay, so the AI has done its detective work. It's built this unique profile. Now what? Well, this is where the magic happens. It's all about matching the perfect teaching method directly to that student's specific needs. Alright, this table right here, this is really the engine of the whole system. Let's just walk through it. Say a student is struggling to sound out words. The AI might deploy structured literacy. That's your classic nuts and bolts phonics. But what if a student gets tripped up by all the weird, irregular spellings in English? Then the AI could switch to structured word inquiry. This is more like being a word historian, figuring out a word's origin to see why it's spelled that way. Or for a kid who's a visual thinker, it might use meaning-based methods, focusing on the picture or the idea of a word, not just the letters. And get this, it's not some extra app or clunky program that teachers have to juggle. The whole thing is built to plug right into the tools they're already using every day, like Google Classroom, IXL, or Seneca. The right lesson just shows up for the right kid right in their normal workflow. It's just so practical. So when you step back and look at the big picture, what does all this mean? Well, this technology could be a way to finally resolve those reading wars, not by picking a winner, but by making the fight itself obsolete, one student at a time. It does not force every child into a single curriculum, but instead uses background data to determine what a student needs. That's it. It's a complete flip of the old model. So really, here's the bottom line. The whole point is to stop searching for the one best way to teach and instead focus all our energy on finding the right way for each and every kid. The AI's only job is to find that perfect match. And that leaves us with a really big, hopeful question. If we can actually tailor education to the unique wiring inside every child's brain, could this be the key to finally unlocking their true potential? Thanks for joining us at Otio Academy.